You know, when we were all going through school, Diesel, on Fridays, we all wanted it to be a movie day or a game day because, let's be honest, nobody wants to work on Friday. It's mail it in Friday, if you will, but we're not going to mail it in on the Fan Upstate, but we are going to start the show with a game that may last 6 seconds. It may last 16 seconds. It may last 6 minutes. We really don't know, but that's what we're doing to keep it a buck with you. We don't know how long the game will last, but the game is titled, and by the way, we need the Tolo's help. The game is titled, How Long Can We Do a Radio Segment About Wimbledon? Diesel, are you up for it?
This sounds kind of like telling a woman she's fat and finding out how long it's going to take for her to hit you.
Yeah.
Or being in a china shop with a bull and wondering how long it's going to take to get gored.
Well, that's where we are.
Yeah, this is where we are.
That's where we are. And again, we do have a segment planned in this we have a topic, rather, for this very first segment. But I'll tell you this. I don't know how many people out there in the upstate of South Carolina actually give a rip about Wimbledon.
You would think that there would be a few, right? There's high school tennis programs all over the place. Clemson and Upstate and Wofford and Furman, they all have tennis teams. You would think that their families, they would want to talk about it, but not once, Cole, in the roughly 6 years that I've worked for this radio station, the Fan Upstate, before that ESPN Upstate, not once has anyone ever called in to talk about tennis. Not once. Unless it's about like, hey, did you see that hot girl playing tennis at Wimbledon or at the Open or whatever?
So it may last, like I said, it may last longer than we expect, but here's the goal. Diesel and I are going to start this radio segment with a boxing bell start round sound effect, and we're going to time ourselves, and we need the help of the Tolos on this Friday. If you want to contribute to the conversation about Wimbledon, you will extend our segment length. If not, like I said, this thing may fall flat on its face. We can, Diesel, if you want to, we can go without using the internet at our disposal just to keep it true.
I'm not going to use the internet at all.
Let's see what we can do. How long this thing truly does last.
How much do you really know about Wimbledon without
You're about to find out.
Alex Guest says tennis. Yawn.
See? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So here we go. Ready? I'm going to sound the boxing bell start at 3:03:30.
Oh, God.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The segment has started. Diesel, let's talk Wimbledon.
Yeah, Wimbledon is a tennis tournament. It's held in New York City.
I just learned something new.
New York,
I just learned
New York
something
City,
new.
New York State, right?
It is? Are you sure about that?
It attracts the world's best.
Best what?
Tennis players. It attracts celebrities. You see celebrities there all the time.
Do celebrities actually attend?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's about all I got.
I learned in your 14 seconds that it was in New York. I didn't know that, so I learned something new today. By the way, we are at 40 seconds now into the segment conversation. I'll tell you what I know about Wimbledon. It'll kind of echo what you said. It happens in the summertime.
Oh, I was wrong about one of those facts.
It's not New York.
Not in New York. It's in England. The U.S. Open is held in New York.
Oh, my God.
That's the U.S. Open is in New York.
We didn't know.
See, I don't know.
So,
I do know that they make them play in white uniforms.
Yes, they play in all white.
Yeah.
I know that.
Grass courts.
What's the guy on NBA on TNT that hosts the show? Ernie. He likes tennis. I saw him at a tennis match not long ago, on TV. So I know that. They do wear all white. It's across the pond.
Yep.
And that's about it. That's about it. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's about all I know when it comes to anything else, Diesel?
Can you name one of the top 20 men's tennis players in the world right now?
Roger, the guy with the last name that starts with an F. Is he still playing?
Roger Federer?
Yeah, is he still playing?
I think he's retired.
Oh, okay, then I don't know.
I think he's retired. Stop me when you hear a name that you've heard before.
Okay.
Going from 20 up to number 1. Kyle Karen Chakanoff, Francisco Carandolo, Hugo Humbert, Jakob Menzik, Arthur Fields, Casper Ruud, Andre Rublev.
Hey, guess what? I'm not going to stop you.
Tommy Paul, Francis Tiafoe,
No.
Alex de Minaur,
No.
Ben Shelton,
No.
Daniel Medvedev,
No.
Holger Rune,
No.
Lorenzo Musetti,
No.
Novak Djokovic.
Yeah.
You've
I'll
heard that
stop
name
you.
before.
I've heard it.
Novak Djokovic, rated the 6th highest ranked tennis player in the world. Taylor Fritz, Jack Draper, Alexander Zverev,
Okay.
Carlos Alcaraz, and Yannick Sinner.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it. And
I recognized Yannick Sinner's name, but I could not have pulled that out of the ether off the top of my head. No way.
2-1-0. That's 3 minutes.
There you go.
3 minutes, Diesel. That's 3 minutes of conversation that we just had. And we had to use the
This conversation never happened, by the way. We get in trouble.
This sport blows.
we had to use the internet. Well, this sport makes you
I
want
just
to.
want to do a header off the top of the press box. Unfortunately, it's too low. It would kill me.
I love that audio. And then, so there we go. We spent
Wow.
3 minutes on the Fan Upstate about tennis. I'm sure Rob Brown could, spend 20 minutes on it. But Diesel and I know that.
Tell us that we're all idiots
Yeah,
and we don't
for
know what we're
not
talking about for
knowing.
not following tennis.
But we also are going to keep it real with you, and we all know that you really don't care about
I
tennis.
genuinely believe that you cannot care enough about every sport to have real opinions about every sport.
So I'll say
can't.
this: the guy that's hosting for Rich Eisen today had a good point about an hour ago, talking about the tournament. I don't know if it was about the tournament, but I kind of correlated Diesel with Wimbledon. He was talking about how in sports, and I really thought this was well done. He was talking about how in sports, Diesel, you have to have a rooting interest to watch. Not a lot of people really watch sports that don't have a rooting interest. And I thought that went well. By the way, caller, we lost you at 844-326-3663 if you want to call back in. I thought that went well with Wimbledon, Diesel, because maybe, just maybe, that's the case. Maybe we just don't know anybody in the tournament in Wimbledon, and we just don't have a rooting interest. And for that reason, we don't really care.
Well, when it was Andy Roddick, one of the best players in the world. I don't know if he ever reached world number one. When it was Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi, Americans were kind of running the tennis world.
Okay.
And I think that's the last time Americans gave a rip. Like, we cared a little bit about the women's side of tennis when Serena and Venus were ripping it apart.
Yeah.
Because Americans like exceptionalism, right? We want to be the best at everything. And I think if we're not the clear dominant force in a global sport, most people aren't going to care. If America ever got to the point where it was winning World Cups with regularity, Americans would care. Like, people would jump on that bandwagon. They would say, I'm rooting for my country, da-da-da-da-da. But if we're not running a sport, like, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to tune in. I'll bet you people would get into highlight if Americans were dominating that sport. They would get into cricket and finally learn the rules. I saw a group of people playing cricket at a park a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Sat there and watched them for like 10 minutes. Didn't have a clue what was going on.
You're clueless.
Not a clue. I was like, why are they bouncing the ball? What's going on here? Why does he run one direction and then come back?
Yeah.
Didn't make
I'm
any
with you.
sense to me.
By the way, on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, we did an APB the other day for Dewey. He did text the show. So as of 1 minute ago, Dewey is still alive.
Your presence has been requested, Dewey,
That's
from
right.
Tom.
Tom
in Somerville.
did call you out. That's right. Just wondering where you were. Maybe that was Dewey that called in a minute ago, ran out of minutes or something.
Can
Dewey,
you name the 4 events that are part of the tennis Grand Slam?
No. Dewey on the text line says.
Don't even want to try.
No, I don't. I couldn't tell you. Dewey says, tennis sucks. I'd rather watch the Braves continue to lose to bad teams than watch tennis. And again, I think that's pretty much the notion. I don't know.
You did say that if the Braves lost last night, you weren't going to pay attention to
it's
them
in the
anymore.
Daily Wires, by the
It was
way.
It's
in the very first. So at
How
5:45,
about
you'll
that?
hear this, Diesel. Daily Wires. I said yesterday, if the Braves lost, I was done because they had Spencer Strider on the mound, and guess what? They lost. So I'm going to hold you to it.
What did he give up? 3? He earned 3 runs in that game?
Yeah, I mean, it was
that's your ace.
Extra innings. 11 innings. The A's beat them 2 out of 3. So I'm going to stick to what I said. I'm going to be a man of my word, Diesel. I'm not going to watch the Braves anymore this year. So RJ asked on the Hub City Spartan Burgers text line before we turn the page, have y'all put out an APB for Harold? Hope he is all right. We have. We put out an APB for Harold, Rick, Dewey. We have a couple of APBs out at the moment. So Tolos, appreciate.
Would you imagine a road trip with those 3 in the car with you?
No,
you're driving.
I would.
Who would you want in the passenger seat beside you? Harold.
Yeah, Harold for sure. Easy answer.
And in the rear, you got Dewey and Rick.
Yeah, on top I put Dewey. Is that okay? I mean, I'm allowed to do that.
If it's a pickup truck, you throw Rick in the back.
Put Dewey and Rick in the back of the pickup. Boy, would that be a interesting ride down 85, right?
That's a good question, and I think we should hold on to that for next week, Cole. Mm-hmm. If you were on a road trip in a car, like a 4-door passenger car, you and 3 other Tolos, who would you most want to be in that car with you, and who would you least want to be in that car with you?
That's a good question. I like that for next week.
Tolos, hang on to that. Yeah. We'll do it Monday, Tuesday.
Chew on that, as they say, right? Let that marinate a little bit. I like that. All right, Tolos, let's turn the page. Let's flip the page. We tried to milk that Wimbledon tennis conversation as long as possible, but there's just not much lemon juice in the lemon, if you will, Diesel. I want to ask the question in this very segment before we're joined by Wes Mitchell of Gamecock Central in about 10 minutes on the show. And I want to ask the Tolos as well, is baseball by far, does the Major League Baseball, does Major League Baseball have by far the best All-Star game? So the All-Star break approaching for Major League Baseball here in a couple of days. And you and I and other shows talk about just how miserable we are when we have to watch the Pro Bowl or the NBA All-Star game, right? The All-Star race in NASCAR is pretty good. I thought this year it was really good. I like where they do it. I like the venue. But I want to hear from the Tolos out there as well as you, Diesel, at 844-326-3663. You don't have to call that number. You have a microphone right there. But I want to hear from the Tolos at 844-FAN-PHONE if they believe baseball, Major League Baseball, does indeed have the best All-Star game. It's pretty bad that you would crown Major League Baseball with the best All-Star game just because in terms of how bad the other two are.
Are we talking strictly the All-Star game, or are we including all of the tertiary events?
You can include the events, I believe.
Because like with football, you got the skills challenges.
Yeah, I think including the events.
With the NBA, you got the slam dunk contest and the 3-point contest.
Yeah. Include all of it.
Could you imagine an all-star NASCAR race, like a celebrity pro-am?
How many cars? First of all, the first question is, how long would it last?
Shane Connick in the driver's seat.
It wouldn't last a lap, right?
And Dale Jr. in the passenger seat.
It wouldn't last a single lap, and there would be cars destroyed within 30 seconds.
They'd have to be in bumper cars, honestly.
Yeah, go-karts.
Yeah, go-karts.
So include the festivities. Okay? Include the festivities, include all of the pageantry that goes along with these All-Star games. You mentioned with the NBA, they have the dunk contest, which has not been the best as of late. They have the Celebrity All-Star game. MLB has the Home Run Derby, right? The Pro Bowl. You mentioned the Skills Challenge. Just to be quite frank with you, I'm not a fan of the Pro Bowl at all. Like, I don't even tune in for the NFL Pro Bowl. It is terrible. The festivities, the pageantry around it, in my opinion, is all terrible. So I am out on the NFL Pro Bowl, including all of the festivities around it. I am also out on the NBA All-Star game. I am not like the biggest Diesel, the biggest MLB All-Star fan, but I think if I'm having to pick, I guess MLB is up there, right?
It is. Game by itself. And I'm doing my own little rating here. I'm working it out in my head and writing it down on the rundown.
Yeah.
I'm grading on an ABCDF scale the game and then the festivities around it. Everything else other than the game. So with Major League Baseball, it'd be the Home Run Derby. With the NBA, what do they do? Do they do the 3-point contest and And the dunk
have a
contest in the
celebrity
NFL,
game.
skills challenge versus the game.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball, the game to me is a B-level game, right?
Yeah, I think that's
because
fair.
you're constantly rotating out talent.
You're the best players, but they're not there long.
Right. They're only in the game for an inning, for an at-bat, and then they're gone. So it's more of like to me, I think the Major League All-Star game, it obviously is an exhibition, and it feels like an exhibition. It feels like they're all just goofing off, like they're all just happy to be there. There's no real competition.
So let me ask you this
in the
question
game.
on that note real quick before we move on, because I agree with you there. You do see the best, which I like. They do try, which I like, right? That's up there for me. They give effort in the MLB All-Star game. How would you fix, though, the problem that the MLB All-Star has now, that the All-Star game has now in terms of players exiting do you just lessen the amount of players that make it? Then you have a small bench in terms of depth for the All-Star game. I don't know exactly what the answer is, but I agree with you. I'll tell you this. If in an All-Star format, Diesel, if I saw the best players in the world going at it for the length of the game, as a fan, I would be more intrigued in that than seeing all these extra guys sub in.
So that's an interesting idea. Limiting the bench. And here's where I think you can make it more fun. All you have are pitchers on the bench. So if a right fielder goes down, if a third baseman goes down, a pitcher has to play that position. Somebody who's not used to playing that position, right? Or if you want to have one infielder and one outfielder, right? You have an outfielder come in and play second base.
Okay.
You have an infielder go out and play center field.
Okay.
And the change has to happen at some point. Think of it like the NASCAR All-Star race, where at the halfway point, fans can vote whether or not they want to invert the field.
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting element to add to it. Do I think it would make throngs of people suddenly turn it on and pay attention to
leave it on?
Probably not. Hopefully they do turn it on and leave it on, but they probably wouldn't. Maybe you're talking about adding in a celebrity or a former great. I don't know, like a Hall of Famer. You can insert a Hall of Famer into the lineup. Somebody who's still young enough to play, right?
Yeah.
Not somebody who's 80. You don't want to put an 80-year-old out there in center field because they were great back in the 60s. But I think that would add an interesting element to it and take away this everybody gets a trophy. Every team gets two guys in. Every team's going to get a pitcher on the lineup. That part of it's lame.
Yeah, I understand having guys that deserve to be there in the game. I really do. But what if Diesel, instead of, how about this? Here's just a, bam, spur of the moment idea, okay? How about instead of limiting the bench, having a skills challenge before the actual All-Star game that funnels and eliminates players into the All-Star game or out of the All-Star game? How about that?
I like it.
So there's a skills challenge right
Yeah.
before, maybe the day before, and all of the All-Star guys are in. They're there. They're recognized, but then only a select few, because of some sort of skills challenge, I don't know what it is, get into the actual game. They're going head-to-head in some kind of format to determine who gets in. And then when we get to the game, we're seeing the best for the entirety of the game.
See, I actually loved when the outcome of the All-Star game affected home field advantage in the World Series.
Yeah.
I loved it. It added a real tangible reason for these guys to play hard, other than go out there and get mic'd up and wave their little hat in the air, give the people a thrill. Put something on the game. And there's charitable donations, and that's cool for about 10 minutes after the game is over. Not really all that worried about that anymore.
It's interesting, though. A lot of texts we'll get to later in the show on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. Nonetheless, all-star games, for the most part, Diesel, do need a little bit of an upgrade, in the fans' mind at least.
When we come back, we talked Clemson recruiting yesterday. Let's talk Gamecock recruiting today. Wes Mitchell of Gamecock Central on the other side. People can call us homers on this show, Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson, all they want to. But the truth is, Cole, we are just as equally opportunity as it gets. We talked Clemson recruiting yesterday. Let's talk South Carolina Gamecock recruiting today. We go straight to the source with Wes Mitchell of Gamecock Central, also a representative of On3 Sports. Welcome to the show, Wes. The big one that everybody's waiting for, the shoe that everyone's waiting to drop is obviously Landon Duckworth. PJ Dean, also a highly touted recruit. Both of those guys highly sought after. Besides money, in 2025, what's baked into the pitch to get a guy to come to South Carolina?
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. Hope y'all been doing well. Obviously, I mean, in today's age, like you said, money, NIL, rev share, whatever you want to call it, that is a factor. But I do think ultimately relationships do still matter. I think, the plan for you at a program, whether you're, a quarterback like Duckworth or a defensive player, these guys still want to be put in a position to succeed. They want to be put in a position to be developed. I do think for most of these guys, money does end up being a factor, but a lot of times, especially if the quote-unquote kind of offers are – then it's going to come down to all those traditional factors, to kind of break the tie, I guess, if you will.
Wes, kind of to play off of that a little bit, again, it's Cole here. Appreciate you hopping on with us as always. But I do wonder sometimes, I find myself asking for people like you that follow recruiting deeply. You guys, in terms of being privy to NIL, dollar figures, dollar amounts, we heard a couple of months ago a report about Lenora Sellers being offered, an X amount by another school. Those on the beat, like yourself, whether it be Clemson or South Carolina or any school out there, how privy are you guys to the actual dollar amounts when it comes to these NIL deals?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. I would say, like anything, every player is a little bit different. And, in the cases, certainly I would say with South Carolina, hey, this guy is going to make X or this guy could make Y if they go to South Carolina or if they're already on the roster. I'd say for a lot of guys, that the people who are pretty dialed in either will have that information or if they wanted to know would maybe have an avenue to figure it out to sort of get that information. When it comes to recruiting, I would say it like this. It's a little bit more like I could probably tell you what is being said a school is going to offer or kind of, with anything like this, when you start involving agents, you start involving other people, you start involving promises of money as opposed to just an actual, contract in the case of recruiting and where it is right now. A lot of times there's no guarantee if that number might be real. But with a lot of kids, especially when it gets down to these final decisions, we do have a decent idea of sort of what numbers are being thrown out there, if that makes sense.
Wes, do you think we deserve to know that information? If you look at things in sort of a political realm, it'd be nice to know out of all the senators and congressmen who are in Washington, who is putting money in their pockets and into their campaigns, just like NASCAR sponsorships. Should we know how much and who is paying these college athletes and recruits?
That's a deep question. I think there's probably let me think about it from multiple ways. From a just rev share standpoint, which is obviously going into effect now, and if you're talking about a public university, there may be a legal case for that there. I would be interested to see how deep that would go. Now, I think from the true NIL standpoint, car dealership A has a legitimate deal with Norris Sellers to where he's going to be a spokesman for the car dealership and he's going to get a car out of it or some cash out of it. I don't really believe that's any of our business whatsoever. That's a private deal done with a student athlete who's using his name, his brand, his following to do a legitimate business deal. That's probably none of our business. So I think when you start talking about the total value some of these guys are making, probably not our business. I would say at the very least from a general standpoint, there is probably a case to be made in terms of knowing how much of that rev share, how much of those school dollars are, again, at the very least going like, hey, this is going to the football team, that's going to the baseball team, just because a lot of cases you're talking about universities that are funded by tax dollars.
Wes, we heard Dabo Sweeney about a year ago, maybe a little bit less than a year ago, bring up rev share. You just brought it up there, and Dabo said something to the effect of Clemson's going to be able to do more than anybody else with rev share coming to the table. And if there is a South Carolina fan in the upstate listening to you today that may be a Gamecock fan but maybe not a diehard Gamecock fan, when they hear about rev share on top of what already is with NIL, can you give a little bit of information on what rev share can do for a school like South Carolina being in the SEC? Is it, to what Dabo said, is it going to elevate some schools compared to others, or would you look at it as a pretty much a general copy and paste across the board?
Yeah, I think certainly it's going to be tough for maybe the non-Power 4 schools or the FCS schools to, I think it maybe creates more of a gap there. Now, I think if you're in the SEC, you're in the ACC, any of the kind of traditional top 25 or top 35, top 40 programs out there, they're going to fully fund that rev share. So in theory, you could, this school may give 75% to football. This other school may just give 70% of that number to football. But for the most part, that is going to create a fairly even playing field there in terms of that. So I don't know if the rev share itself gives any school a huge advantage over the other, as long as you're kind of in that, let's say, top 40 schools traditionally window. Now, what's going to be interesting, and the answer we don't know yet, is how are these schools going to be able to, I would just say, logistically structure what they're doing above the rev share. So that's the true NIL, but obviously schools are still able to put together those packages for student athletes as well that are, like I'm talking about the brand deal. Hey, this car dealership wants to work with your running back. That does not necessarily count towards the rev share, but something a lot of coaches are complaining about right now, and rightfully so, is when school B offers player A, hey man, we're going to be able to pay you $700,000 this year. Okay, well, how much of that is rev share, which can be quite literally promised? Like, there can be a contract. Those contracts will be available to current seniors starting on August 1st. It's on paper. It'll be signed on signing day, and it's locked in, versus the kind of pie in the sky, well, a quarter of this deal, we're going to be able to get that for you via NIL. Okay, well, how are you going to get that approved through NIL Go, which is the system that has to approve every single deal? So I think that's what has a lot of coaches up in arms about right now, is a lot of these schools allegedly are promising big numbers that they may or may not be able to deliver.
Wes, I'm glad you brought up that NIL Go there, and to stay on that here for just a second, then we'll get back to South Carolina recruiting. What are you hearing as far as how this clearinghouse NIL Go is going to operate? How much scrutiny do you think, do you hope, or do you want there to be on some of these big NIL deals? I mean, I just learned today that a Texas Tech booster put up $5.1 million in NIL money to land a 2026 five-star offensive tackle. So that's a $5 million deal over 3 years. Would you want NIL Go to look at that and say, no, we're not going to let that happen?
Yeah, I think there's some nuance to that too. That 5.1 was initially reported. I believe that was put out by the agency involved with that kid. And then you dive into it and you see, okay, the actual guaranteed number was more into the 700, 750K per year, guaranteed via rev share. So what they're saying essentially is, hey, we're going to do everything we can to get you up to that 5.1 whatever million over those 3 years by supplementing it with NIL, or if the rules change, we'll renegotiate this up to that. So that's another aspect of all this. You have it looks very good if I'm the agency and I can let it just leak out there. Oh man, my client, who I'm working very closely with, is making this much money. The reality is that he is making a heck of a lot of money potentially, but maybe not the number that got floated out there initially. NIL Go is very intriguing right now. Some of the reporting I'm seeing on a national basis is that they are really pushing back against the collectives right now, even when we're talking about fair market, legitimate business deals. So I think that's something that's going to be worked through potentially, I don't know, maybe in the courts, or there's going to that's the next argument, I think, is what if you have a collective that has a legitimate business deal for a student athlete? How do you have the power to say that that athlete is not able to do that deal? And I think in a general sense, the NIL Go concept is a good thing. But here's the thing about all this stuff right now. Every coach is going to want to point the finger to the schools that are spending too much, but then that same coach is not going to want for the system to deny their players' deal. So ultimately, I think they have the right thought process with it, but I still don't know how it's going to ultimately stand up to scrutiny in what is supposed to still be an open market.
Wes Mitchell, Gamecock Central, joining us right here on the Fan Upstate. Wes, when you look at the South Carolina 2026 football commits, 8 of the 10 hard commits are from the Carolinas. Of those 10, which of those should Gamecock fans be most excited about in your mind?
Yeah, man, there's some options there. Honestly, I think most of them are kind of blue chip guys, and it is a smaller class right now, but it's heavy on highly recruited guys. I would say 2 people maybe stand out to me a little bit would be Jazavian Currents from South Point. You're talking about a highly rated kid who's been kind of on the recruiting radar for 2 or 3 years now as someone that every school in the country was going to want. So that was a big recruiting win for them. They were able to kind of stave off some other schools that remained recruiting him even after he was committed to South Carolina last year. And then I'll go to Aiden Harris, the 4-star defensive lineman out of the Charlotte area. You know, that's a spot, especially on the interior, where they really, I feel like, needed to upgrade their high school recruiting at that position. They've had to rely heavily on the portal the last couple of cycles there. And so they really tried to make a move there. You look at adding in Aiden and adding in Noah Clark, who is another state of North Carolina 4-star defensive tackle prospect. Those are 2 guys that sort of fit needs, but also are very different players. Aiden's a little bit more of that pass rush, athletic defensive tackle. Noah Clark is more of kind of your plug up the middle, nose tackle type guy. And so I think they complement each other pretty well. Both of those commitments were really big gets for South Carolina.
Wes, the rule, as everybody knows, is you can enter and declare for the NFL draft 3 years removed from high school graduation. At the end of this season, Lenora Sellers will be 3 years removed from high school graduation. What does your heart tell you about whether or not Lenora sticks around for the 2026 season? And then as we're looking at the hopeful commit from Landon Duckworth, do you think Landon Duckworth is that kind of dude who can jump an Air Noland and a Cutter Woods who have been in the program a little bit longer?
Yeah, a lot to unpack. I would say the general consensus from people I have talked with has been that if Lenora Sellers has the year that he expects to have, that he wants to have, that people around here believe he can have, that he's probably going to be a top 10 pick and that's going to be very difficult for him to turn down. Now, he is not a person who is going to just jump to the NFL draft just to jump. He's got his brother on the team. He's had a great experience so far by all indications at South Carolina. I don't think he would jump just to jump. In other words, if he doesn't quite have the year he's wanting, he doesn't quite have the projections that he would want to have, I could see him still returning. I will say this, as much as people wanted to talk about, he turned down reportedly whatever millions of dollars. Lenore Sellers is very well taken care of in Columbia, South Carolina as well. So it wasn't like he is making peanuts and turned down multi-millions of dollars. So we'll put it like that. There's a lot of reasons for him to potentially want to stay and have another year with his family in Columbia. That said, if he blows up this year like everybody expects, it's going to be hard for him to turn it down. I'll tell you what, man, Landon is a heck of a talent, but I think he's kind of the closest in this class, upside-wise, skill set-wise, to what Lenoris is as a player. I still would think it'd be very difficult, even as an early enrollee, if that position was open going into next year, for any true freshman to just come right in and steal the spot. I think you would have a open quarterback competition there, obviously. And, man, don't sleep on Cutter Woods. Like, there is a lot of buzz about this true freshman from what he's done so far after being on campus. So there's a far jump from creating some buzz as a freshman, right, to being a starter in the SEC, but way, way, way too far ahead of time. There's a lot to like about Cutter Woods. So I think this guy is going to have his say at that position before his career is over at South Carolina.
Wes, before we let you go, you mentioned Cutter Woods there. From what you've seen through spring and summer ball, some other newcomers that have turned your head a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, man, Cutter's been great. I tell you what, these wide receivers, it's funny. You ask, all right, well, which wide receiver is the best of the bunch? And depending on who you ask, you'll get a different answer because really in their own way, all 5, 6 of these guys have excelled so far since they arrived. There's one kid out of that bunch that just consistently creates more buzz, I would say, than maybe about anybody else in the freshman class. That is Brian Rowe. 4-star receiver out of North Carolina. I would keep an eye on him, potentially making a big impact this season. And let's see, among the transfers, let me throw Brandon Cisse at you. This kid came in from NC State, was a starter there. Just is he's a football head. Like, he's one of these guys that you have to kick out of the film room. Just loves ball. Heavy on the film review, all that stuff, on top of being a great, versatile athlete. I'm expecting really, really good things from Cisse this year to step in and play a variety of roles on that defense.
Wes, instant review on you joining our show today. Texter says, this guest is top-notch, very informative. Want all of our Tolos to go follow Wes on Twitter at Wes Mitchell GC. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Wes.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Wes Mitchell, Gamecock Central, to the texter's point, always a good conversation. How many names, Tolos, do you know that are expected to go in the top 10, 15 or so in the MLB mock draft, or in the MLB draft, rather? We'll dive into that next. Solos, we know baseball season is a rockin' and a rollin', but when it comes to college baseball, that season's over. But the MLB draft is rapidly approaching. In fact, it starts Sunday, Diesel. So when you look at the mock draft from guys like Kylie McDaniel and others on ESPN, how many of these names do you know that you've heard of before that are predicted to go in the top 10 or 15 or so, or even in the first round of the 2025 MLB draft? Let's start with number one in the latest mock draft from Kylie McDaniel of ESPN. Diesel, he predicts the Washington Nationals to select left-handed pitcher out of LSU, Cade Anderson, with the number one overall pick. And obviously, because of what they did in the postseason and College World Series, we've all heard of that guy.
Yeah, that's a name that's been thrown around quite a bit.
And you know what? It is interesting to note the Washington Nationals not far removed from firing their general manager, Mike Rizzo. So with that being in the works as of recent, with that happening recently, you don't really know exactly what they're going to do there. Cade Anderson's a guy that's expected to go early. Liam Doyle, left-handed pitcher, lefty if you will, out of Tennessee. He's sixth in most rankings in the power rankings for the guys going in the first round. He's predicted to go to the Los Angeles Angels. Liam Doyle, Seth Hernandez, Ethan Holiday to the Rockies. You obviously have heard of him. And at 5, Eli Wiltis predicted to go to the St. Louis Cardinals. Of those top 5, though, Diesel, I would imagine our audience out there has pretty much only heard of Cade Anderson and maybe obviously Ethan Holiday. But
how many of the projected top 10 are pitchers?
Of the top 10, you've got one pitcher, or one being the pitcher,
Yep.
2 being a pitcher, 3 pitcher. Ethan Holiday plays third base. Obviously, everybody knows Ethan. His brother went, and his dad in his time in the MLB. St. Louis Cardinals at 5. They're predicted to go shortstop. So you've got 3 in the top 10. 4 at 8. 4. So four of the top 10 are projected to be pitchers.
I love it. I love that, pitchers, it's hard enough to find an ace, right? And that's what they're all trying to do. Every team is trying to get an ace. You can figure out hitting after that. They're not just going after the guys that are the home run hitters, the guys that can put it over the wall. They need shutdown pitchers in Major League. And I love that that's the most highly sought after position.
It is, and a friend of mine also reminded me on my on the text line or on my phone rather, that Liam Doyle is a former Coastal Carolina Chanticleer who obviously finished his season or finished his career at Tennessee. And then at number 4, if the Rockies, who do have the 4th pick, go with Ethan Holiday, I think there would be a lot of people interested in that just because of what his dad did with that organization. If he doesn't go number 1 to the Nationals, it looks like the Colorado Rockies might be the favorite or the landing spot of Ethan Holiday, and there would be 2 Holidays now in the MLB, with his brother going just a few years ago to the Baltimore Orioles.
It's Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. A programming reminder for you guys. Next week, we're going to be back out at an Ingalls Market, the 410 Pelzer Highway location. That's on Wednesday. On Friday, we're going to be at the Hub City Spartanburger Stadium at Fifth Third Park there in downtown Spartanburg. Cole will be there at least. We had some producer scheduling issues, so he'll be there. I'll be here in studio, but it is their Christmas in July event. 2 chances next week to see us out on the road. When we come back, Cole, let's take a quick look in and see what's happening in North Berwick, Scotland for the Scottish Open, the final tune-up before the Open. Well, the Genesis Open might be the professional golfer's last chance to tune up before playing in the Open Championship, the British Open, as that used to be called. But don't call it the redheaded stepchild, Cole. This is a big deal event. Everybody's paying attention to what's going on in Scotland right now, and some of the game's biggest names are tearing it up out there on the course. The Renaissance Club in North Berwick, Scotland. Round 2 is completed for most of these golfers because, again, the time difference, they tee off super early, which means they're basically done by mid-afternoon our time. But the Genesis Open going well for Rory, for Scotty, for Tommy Fleetwood, for Xander, and the US of A. America acquitting themselves quite well in the Genesis Open so far.
You know, I don't know if I've heard a golfer talk about this or not, Diesel, but when you said what you said about this kind of being the tune-up before next week, before the major, the last major of the year, by the way, the thought did cross my mind, and I'd like to ask, one of these pros one day about the way the schedule lines up, because let's just say this week, the week of, the second week of July, these golfers were back in the States, right? They were doing their own thing. Maybe they were playing in a tournament this weekend, let's say in Pittsburgh, right? Mm-hmm. They finish up on Sunday. They're done. They have Monday to get their butts across the pond for one of the biggest majors, the last major of the year. I wonder if, number one, if there's a something in writing that there has to be a tournament, excuse me, overseas the week before the Open. And number two, if these golfers who are the best in the world would be thrown off their game, Diesel, if they had to get over there, bam, bam, finish on Sunday in the States.
I would imagine. So I don't know about you, but jet lag kicks my rear end. I've never flown anywhere east. So, I've never flown to Europe or Africa or anywhere else. So I don't really know what jet lag feels like going tough that way. Yeah. But I have flown to the West Coast a couple times, and that's a shorter time difference. That's 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on where you are. Sure. 2 hours if we're going to New Mexico, 3 hours if we're going out to California. But it kicks my rear end, especially on those early morning flights. Yeah. Getting over there, it's not fun, man. I don't like it. It puts me on my ass for about 36 hours before I start feeling normal again. But you go back last week and the week before. The week before was the John Deere. Last week was, can't remember the name of the classic. It was the John Deere and the Travelers, right?
I think so.
Yeah, one of those, or the Detroit Open was last week. But a lot of the big time golfers, Rory, Scotty, etc., they skipped those. So I wonder if they like to skip those to get over to Scotland, to get in the same time zone as
could be
the Open, so they can get their bodies right. You got to acclimate to the weather. You got to acclimate to the time difference. You got to acclimate to the terrible food. I mean, there's a lot you got to get your body right for.
People don't realize, Diesel, to your point, it takes a good day and a half, 2 days to kind of get used to it. The furthest I've been is Israel. And when I went to Israel, when I got to Israel, they told us, hey, we know you're really tired. You've been on this 14-hour flight, but don't sleep. It was like 3 p.m., right? They said, don't take a nap. Don't take a nap. Everybody wants to take a nap, but don't take a nap, because if you do, then it's really going to hurt you more and more down the road, right? So we pushed through, stayed up till 8, 9, 10 o'clock, and then went to bed. But I will tell you, when we came back to the States, it was just as tough acclimating. 14-hour flight with a jet lag.
What's the time difference? Probably 7, 8?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly what it is.
That puts you halfway off your day.
So it's halfway off. Yeah. I guess these golfers, even though they're that good, you think they fussed and moaned and complained about the wet course up in Charlotte? Can you imagine what their fussing and complaining would be like to that extent, Diesel, if they had to leave and in a day or two? Hey, show up and play golf within a 2-day span. That'd be really tough.
7-hour time difference, by the way, from Eastern time to Israel. And imagine. Look, I know they bring their own food and they keep things as consistent as they possibly could, but imagine 3 days of eating beans on toast as the Brits do. and then you're on hole number 5, and there is not a porta-john in sight.
Yeah.
Woo,
It'd be
buddy.
tough. It'd be tough. I am looking forward to, though, not to zoom past this one. I am looking forward to this next major. I just wish I like that they're early in the morning, but like with this tournament, I'll be honest with you, the Genesis Scottish Open. Sometimes I do wish it was a little bit later. Right now, you and I would love to be watching the golf, right? But it's over. It's done.
Yeah, well, but maybe it should be like the Olympics where they time shift it, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe the Golf Channel is doing that. We in the studio, we've got the 4-letter on the TV here. And to crack a little joke here, I called it the redheaded stepchild, or said don't call it the redheaded stepchild. Scotland has the highest confirmed percentage of redheads of any country in the world. 13%.
Say it again,
Scotland has the highest percentage of redheads, natural redheads, of any country in the world.
That's a good. Yeah, I could see that.
Global average is 1% to 2% redheads.
Wow.
Scotland is 13% redheads,
Wonder how
which
that
doesn't
happens.
sound like a huge number.
That's a lot, though.
But 40% of Scots carry the gene. So little
How about that?
genetic news for you here. Update. But the Genesis Open happening right now, par 70 at the Renaissance Club in North Berwick, Scotland. They're having about as good a weather as you could possibly have for this tournament. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, and Sunday, all sitting at highs around 77 degrees. Yeah, it's humid, but it's right by the ocean, so you get that nice ocean breeze. And they're even on, they're on the east coast of Scotland, so they're not getting hit with all that weather coming off of the Atlantic.
The only thing I would say, going back to my point about TV, I know that right now we're hot and heavy in the off season, right, with ESPN, because you mentioned ESPN, it's what's on our TV screen. And I know this tournament going on is not a major. However, I do wish, and I realize Golf Channel, ESPN, CBS, they're all different. They all have their legal responsibilities of what they talk about and what they carry and what they air. But for example, on a 4 o'clock, at 4 o'clock on a Friday, on July the 11th, I would much rather be watching highlights and reports from the Genesis Open than hearing about Aiden Hutchinson, who missed the final 12 games of last season.
They've been really reaching on the 4-letter the last couple of days. They're going state by state, Cole, of the greatest athletes who were from that state, who were born in that state, who played college in that state.
Wow.
And who played their professional. Yeah. They spent like an hour talking about Hawaiian players the other day. Not to disparage the contributions of Hawaiian players, but I mean, come on. You're going to have to do the same bit 50 days in a row.
Isn't it?
Whew.
I just wish I could see more. I'd like to know.
Yeah.
There's nothing on there right now. And if I go to the Golf Channel, they're airing the tournament that's happening in Louisville. Maybe it's
Right.
something PC.
You can go on. You can go on the 4-letter Networks app, and you can watch. You can watch the coverage on demand.
Yeah, I
however
guess
you
that's what
want
I need
to.
to
Again, the weather not bad. 77 degrees. It's not like it was a couple of years ago, Cole, in July of 2022, which would have been when they played the Scottish Open in 2022. It was 105 degrees. It's a record high in that area, 105 degrees. So they're playing in beautiful 77 degrees. But I was telling you earlier that Americans are dominating this field right now. 18 Americans inside the top 50. An American is sitting in first place. Chris Gotterup, whose name I've never heard before.
No.
Congratulations to him. This is your day, pal. He was 9 under today, 11 under overall, sitting in first place. Congratulations to him.
I clicked on Chris Gotterup because I was in the same boat as you, and I said, who's this guy? And when I clicked on his info, Diesel, to find out where he was from, who he is, I got a loading message.
Nothing.
I don't even think they know.
They're like, huh?
I don't even know if what website is this?
He's
I'm using?
25. He's from Easton, Maryland.
Okay.
Played his college golf at Oklahoma and is currently the 96th ranked player in the world.
And see, the one I'm looking at says Rutgers. Nobody knows. No, it says Chris
crazy.
Gotterup Rutgers. I mean, we don't know.
He's killing it. Hopefully he can hold on to that. Rory McIlroy playing well. He was 5 under today. 7 under overall, tied for 6th. He's up 27 spots from yesterday. Xander Schauffele, 4 under today, 6 under overall, tied for 12th. Scotty Scheffler, 2 under today, 5 under overall, tied for 21st. And Tommy Fleetwood, who, God, we all hoped would get it done, who didn't get it done. He is tied for 40th at 3 under overall.
I'm just kind of surprised that guy's still alive.
Surprised he didn't end it.
I know that's terrible for me to say. I shouldn't joke about that, but good gosh.
Surprised he's not, in the bottom of a bottle of scotch right now.
I'm telling you. So you look at the Americans. You've got Chris Goddard up as the number 1 Diesel, who jumped 32 spots. But other than that, I mean, the Americans are kind of far-fetched. Well, you got Keith Mitchell at T6.
The English are playing well here, too.
There are. Look at there are a lot. Jake Knopp, I think I've heard that name. Brian Harmon, I've heard Brian. He's T12. Xander Schauffele, as you mentioned. But if you go down, oh, by the way, shout out T21, Wofford College alum Andrew Novak, who jumped up 92 spots today. Is that good, by the way?
Yeah, pretty good. Had himself a good day.
Scotty's. So here's the question I want to know, and I think this is the question most casual golf fans want to know. Diesel. Scotty's right now T21, right?
Yep.
He dropped 7 spots from yesterday. So Scotty's T21. Rory is
T6.
T6. So with Rory T6, you obviously know he's in contention. Currently, he is at 7 under. The leader, Chris Goddard, up's 11 under. I want to know, the casual golf fan out there probably wants to know, here we are, day 2, round 2. You still have Saturday and Sunday, 2 more rounds to go. With Scotty being T21, does he have a shot to win it? Right? I think that's what people want. So he's 5 under.
Yep, 6 off the lead.
And you take away, do the math, that's 6.
And remember, the leader, Chris Goddard, he was 9 under today, so he played out of his mind.
He did play good.
He played out of his mind.
He shot a 61, by the way.
To get to second, overall score is 9 under, and that would be, Scotty Scheffler 4 off the pace.
You know who else?
Xander Schauffele 3 off the pace. That's very reachable.
Diesel, Chris Goddard shot a 61 today. Do you want to know who else shot a 61 today?
Phil?
Nobody. I mean, that's pretty good. So
the problem is he was +8 yesterday.
Yeah, he did. Yesterday, he shot a 68 yesterday, 61 today. And again, I think that's just where we are. Like, we, as the diehard golf fans, Diesel, they're in tune with it. They're keeping up with it. And the diehard golf fans are probably watching it, right, on the PGA app. They probably got it pulled up. But for me, somebody who would consider themselves a casual fan of the sport, that's what I look at when I look at these leaderboards. I look at, okay, where's Scotty? Where's Rory? You mentioned Rory's playing really well. He jumped up 27 spots. I would like for there to be, and maybe there is, I just don't know about it. I'd like for there to be a way, Diesel, so I could watch the biggest names in the world all on one screen, constantly, consistently, and just see, in terms of contention, where they are. Because here's the bad part: if Scotty's not in contention, my interest drops.
So when I watch on my Roku app through the ESPN app, they have featured groups, and it's usually, there's almost always the Scotty Scheffler featured group.
Yeah.
And so it may be the Xander Schauffele group, the Rory McIlroy group, whatever it may be. It would be awesome if you could four-way screen just the featured groups that you want to see.
Yeah.
The whole tournament coverage is great. And it's, you get the national play-by-play guys, and they're fantastic at what they do. But we care about the stars. We care about the biggest stars. By the way, take a wild guess at where J.J. Spawn, who just won the U.S. Open 3 weeks ago, where is he?
I didn't see him top 25. I didn't see him top 25. I'd guess top 100. I'd say 75.
Cut. J.J. Spawn cut.
Didn't make
just it. Won the he went 70 and 72, so he was 2 over par. 2 over par got him cut from the Genesis.
Also want to shout out Jacob Bridgman, who had a better day today. He shot a 71 yesterday, 68 today. He did jump up 30 spots. He's still way back there with the likes of Sam Burns and Sam Stevens. Jacob Bridgman now T64. He's 1 under through the first 2 rounds. Clemson product and Chapman High School product right here from the upstate. So we'll see. What's the cut line? Did you mention the cut line already?
Cut line is, let me scroll down and find it again, -1.
Yeah, so
-1. So when you look at this course traditionally, a score that typically wins this thing over the last 5 years, the average winning score is 14 under.
Yeah, you look at Robert McIntyre, T64, and Justin Thomas, also T64. Two names we know. They barely made they were the first in, or excuse me, the last in terms of making the cut. And you mentioned 1 under. That's where Bridgman is. So there are currently, you talk about a logjam. Diesel, right now you've got Sam Stevens, Jacob Bridgen, Siwoo Kim, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 20, 25 guys, all T64. So there's a logjam toward the bottom. But I guess you make the cut, you make the cut. At least you're playing golf all weekend, right?
So for those unfamiliar with golf being played in Scotland and Ireland and the UK, this is considered to be a links light course. It's not a true links course, which at a links course there's no trees. It's, tall grass in between the holes, a lot of wide open space, a lot of rolling, undulating fairways. This is not a true links course. It is a links light course put together, the architect by American architect Tom Doak. Xander Schauffele won this thing in 2022. He was the first American to ever win the co-sanctioned event between the PGA and the DP, which is the European Tour. He won. He was in the middle of a hot streak. He won the Travelers and the Zurich in that span. In 2023, Rory McIlroy won the whole thing. He shot a 31 on his final 9 holes to win by 1 over Robert McIntyre, the Scot. And, you got to be good with your irons. You got to be good in the wind. I imagine you're not hitting driver a lot out there, a lot of low angled 1 irons, 2 irons, 3 irons, trying to keep that ball down out of the wind.
Look, here's where I am before we run to a break. I am considering myself someone who's a golf casual. I want to know how we can get to the point. And look, I mentioned it earlier. These agreements are already tied up. But if you want to grow the game of golf, wouldn't you think that the week before I don't want to call it the Super Bowl, but the last major of the year, wouldn't you think that when you turn on ESPN or turn on one of these big networks, wouldn't you think the week before the last major of the year, we could be able to get some better coverage? Here's my problem. You tell me, and everybody, buddies who are golf guys, they say, well, go to the app. I shouldn't have to. If I'm a casual golf fan, you're never going to get me interested in the game of golf full-fledged, Diesel, by telling me to go to an app. I want it mainstream on all the big networks, all the TV platforms.
You asked earlier, how do we fix the Major League Baseball All-Star Game to make it more interesting? How do we fix golf to make it more interesting? You need to give people at least an option, and you need to put it on a major network somewhere. It doesn't have to be the #1 CBS broadcast, but you got to make it easily accessible. I want to see somebody like Michael Collins, somebody with a lot of energy, out there on the course, walking the course with a mic and a headset. You can't talk to the golfers in the middle of their rounds. Who was that, Bryson? Sorry, Bryson. They're not going to talk to you. You need somebody with a lot of entertainment value and personality out there roaming the course to make the broadcast more interesting. And you got to put this thing in prime time. You got to time shift it, put it in prime time, make the play-by-play the most interesting thing about watching golf.
Or at least do this. I like your Michael Collins idea. I like him. Yeah. Do a taped Michael Collins and Marty Smith highlight reel, and then play it back at 3 o'clock so that I can watch golf. Oh, well, it's already gone. It's already up. I mean, what? Right. But no. Put it on TV. They at least record.
I mean, have the guys from Good out there, doing the play-by-play. How does playing well in the Scottish Open translate to playing well in the Open? It doesn't really. Not all that much. I mean, golf is such a hard sport to be elite week after week after week after week. There's a reason why Tiger is Tiger. Since 2010, only one player has won both the Scottish Open and the Open in the same year. That was Phil Mickelson. Rory McIlroy in 23 won the Scottish, tied for 6th at the Open. 2022, Xander Schauffele won the Scottish, tied for 15th at the Open. In 2015, Ricky Fowler won the Scottish, tied for 30th at the Open. So, if you're playing well, you're playing well, but, it doesn't necessarily mean because you win one, you're going to win the next.
Sure. Tolos, we earlier in the week had a fantastic conversation and a lot of good feedback about the interview we did with Ramon Robinson of RR Elite Academy. It was later in the show. A lot of you that listened early in the show missed it. We've had some Tolos ask where they can find it. We love Ramon. He's one of the best. He's so smart and so full of knowledge. We're going to have that interview from Tuesday in case you missed it for you next.
wish more big-time sports pundits, Cole, had more of a filter. I wish they would have somebody read their tweets before sending them out. Like, you write something, you hear it in your own voice the way you intend it to be taken, and it sounds fine. And then the general public gets a hold of it, and it's the exact opposite. Now you're in a firestorm. RG3 is in a firestorm after he defended a racist tweet aimed at Angel Reese. And in doing so, he decided, you know what, now's a good time for me to drop the little tidbit of information that someone in Angel Reese's inner circle told me that she hates Caitlin Clark.
Oh, so he used it as an opportunity to dig the hole deeper, as you'd say.
Yep, he did. And people inside of Angel's inner circle are saying, you don't know anybody inside of our inner circle. Angel fired back, calling him out, saying it was nasty work and accused him of lying for clout. Now, nobody knows if somebody inside Angel's circle did tell RG3 the truth, or if it was even the truth at all. But dangerous tweet from RG3, and now he's embroiled in a multi-way bleep storm with himself, Angel Reese, Ryan Clark, Jamel Hill. Like, they're all over him.
RG3 is opinionated. He is.
Yeah.
He is. He's something else. I have my thoughts on him, and according to him, we're right now in World War III. That's, he is very opinionated. That's all I'll say.
He's also telling us something that we probably already knew.
Yeah.
Like, Angel and Caitlin don't like each other. Duh.
Yeah.
We know. Robert.
Tolos, I need, Diesel needs, we need you. And this is a big segment we have coming up. If you are a sports fan and you are listening to us talk right now, we need you to turn it on and leave it on, because you are going to be called to the plate. What are we doing? It's your time to shine. Next, right here on the Fan Upstate. Well, Diesel, you and I on this very show many times make predictions. We put our prediction hat on. We tell the Tolos out there what we think is going to happen. We give analysis and we predict wins and losses. That's what we do. It's our job. They do pay us a little bit to do that every day from 3
you're
to
getting
7.
paid for this?
I know, really. So I wouldn't call it paid. From 3 to 7 every day, that's what we do. However, in this very segment, we want to open it up. And we want to allow you, Tolos out there, in the dead of summer to get your official predictions in. We will record them, and we will have them at your disposal later on toward the end of the season if you would like. But here is what we're doing on this Friday at 5 o'clock. If you're listening to the show, most likely you're a sports fan. Most likely. Or you just love Diesel. The second thing, let me back up. I'll tell you the first thing. The first thing is we hope you're a sports fan. The second thing is we want you to engage in this very segment by playing the win-loss game with your team. So, when Diesel and I started the show over a year, back in March of 2024, over a year or so, Diesel, we asked all of the Tolos out there, kind of did a poll, right, of who your team was, whether it be Clemson, South Carolina, Ohio State, professional team. We polled the audience, and we learned who the teams were that you Tolos out there pulled for. So we're doing a win-loss game segment with your team. That's right, you Tolos out there listening. We're going to do it right now in this very segment. So here's how it works. If you're driving down the road or sitting at home listening or watching the show and you are a Gamecock fan or you're a Panthers fan or you're a Texans fan, you call the show. You tell us who your team is. Diesel and I will pull up in rapid response, pull up the schedule. And we will go game by game, and you Tolos out there will tell us win or loss game by game. And we'll record it, we'll have it written down, and we will allow you to just see how good you are at making predictions.
So we're keeping receipts is what you're trying to say.
Keeping receipts, Diesel, and we're going to give an example, okay? Examples are good in life, right? People need examples. Here is the example. By the way, the phone lines are open right now. At 844-326-3663, this segment does not involve the text line. So if you are a sports fan and have a team and want to be really knowledgeable and maybe look really smart at the end of the season, now's your opportunity to do so. Diesel, I'm going to start with you as an example.
Oh, God.
With App State. Are you
You're
ready?
Make an example out of me.
Are you ready? Do you think you're ready?
Yeah, let me look up. Let me pull the 25 App State football schedule.
Yep, pull it up, 2025.
2025, pull up the schedule so I can follow
callers
along.
Calling in. We've got callers calling in right now. TX Experience is on hold. The phone lines are open, 844-326-3663. So for all those Tolos out there that have never played this game, this is how it works. Me and Diesel, are going to pull up the schedule of your team. Mm-hmm. Diesel's going to call in. He's going to say his name is Diesel. He wants to play the win-loss game with App State.
Okay.
All right, I've got it pulled up. Diesel, you ready?
Yeah.
Friday, August 29th, App State will play Charlotte in Bank of America Stadium.
Win.
Okay. After that, the following week on September the 6th, App State will play a team named Lindenwood in Boone, North Carolina. Have you heard of Lindenwood?
I've never heard of Lindenwood. So,
are they new?
Are they Division II? Are they even a Division I team?
Is it a high school team?
That's a win.
Okay.
That's a win.
So you've got them starting 2-0.
Yep.
At Southern Miss, the Golden Eagles, this one's in Mississippi.
Ooh. I'm going to say a win on the road. Southern Miss has struggled the last couple of years. Charles Huff, the coach who was just at Marshall, took the job at Southern Miss and brought a lot of his team with him, but not all of his team with him. So I think App State's going to get this win on the road.
You have your alma mater starting off 3-0 going into the bye week.
That's really 2.5-0 because Lindenwood doesn't count.
Okay, so here's the next one. This is where it gets a little tough, man.
Yeah.
The schedule really picks up. Diesel has App State 3-0. After the bye, 9-27. They're at Boise State.
I'm going to say that's a loss.
Okay, 3-1.
That's a loss. I wanted to go to that game. I had plans to go to that game, and then life happened and
Yeah.
kind of screwed that up.
October 4th, they come back home to Kid Brewer Stadium and host Oregon State.
God.
Two tough ones in a row.
I don't know about Oregon State this year.
Yeah, no DJU.
No DJU. I'm going to say that's a win.
Okay, I like
I'm going to say that's a win because by then we're 4 games in, going into week 5.
All right.
Big time opponent at home.
I like that.
It's a win.
Confidence.
It's a win.
Under first-year head coach. So you're
Dowell Loggins.
4-1.
Mm-hmm.
Dowell Loggins is 4-1 going to Atlanta, Georgia to take on Georgia State.
Win.
5-1.
Mm-hmm.
They come back home the next week, October 18th, hosting Coastal Carolina. The big one. The big one, right?
Yeah. Not knowing kickoff time.
There's some hesitation there.
No, Coastal's played App State really well the last couple of years
Sure.
and got him a couple times. I'm gonna say we lose that game. We lose homecoming. Who schedules Coastal for homecoming?
5-2. The next week, October 25th, you're 5-2 heading into Norfolk, Virginia at Old Dominion.
Win.
6-2 heading into the bye. November the 6th, you are back home hosting your Georgia Southern Eagles.
Yeah.
You're 6-2, by the way. Good season.
Good season so far, especially first year for a first-year head coach.
Absolutely.
With Georgia Southern, Clay Helton, this is such a wonky matchup to try to call, to try to pick. Georgia Southern's had us the last couple of years. Not gonna lie, it's chapped my ass. But I think with a new head coach, I think they got it rolling at that point. Win at home.
7-2. You're at JM.
It's a Thursday night, by the way, 7:30 prime time matchup on ESPN.
These last few are tough. 7-2, you go to JMU.
Loss.
7-3, you host Marshall.
Win.
8-3, final game of the season, you're hosting Arkansas State.
Win.
Did you?
Win. 9-3 in Dowell Loggins' first
Whoa,
year.
That's great, right?
Dowell Loggins crushing it now. I know this is 2026 recruiting class. Crushing it on the recruiting trail.
But that's big. First year 9-3.
Yeah.
Beating Oregon State.
Getting back to bowl eligibility.
That's big time.
That's big. Beating the rival.
Yeah.
That's big.
So
James Madison's still really good.
Oh, yeah,
taking the
always.
L on the road and yeah.
they're always good. That is how you play the win-loss game.
So
Tolos.
should we? I think there could be a stipulation on it where if you are dead on or correct with a plus minus of 1, like you know what you're talking about. In the parlance of the Rob Brown show, you know ball.
Yeah, sure.
If you're dead on or plus or minus by 1, you know ball.
Yeah.
But if you're outside of that, you're either homer or a hater.
Yeah, it's true. I'm interested to see how our Tolos are going to respond to their school. Again, this is open for college or pro. College or pro, you name the school, you call in. Diesel's up next, so the T Experience will give Diesel his schedule. Diesel will go game by game. Phone lines are open right now, 844-326-3663. It's the win-loss game. T Experience, you're leading off. Who is your team?
Buffalo Bills and Florida Gators, so let's go with my Gators.
Oh, Florida Gators.
Florida Gators
So Diesel's
schedule.
going to pull up the 2025 Florida Gators schedule. Meanwhile, phone lines again, 844-326-3663. Well, obviously, this segment's being recorded, so T Experience will record it. Diesel, you ready with T Experience?
We are ready to go. T Experience leading off the season at home against the LIU Sharks. Do you even know what LIU stands for?
Long Island, and I'm going to that game.
No way! How about that?
And?
Oh, it's a win.
Okay. I was about to say. All right, you got them start off 1-0. Week 2, also at home against the South Florida Bulls. A lot of people think South Florida might have a little something this year.
Win.
Okay.
2-0.
I like that.
Then you go on the road for the first time of the season at number 6 LSU Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge.
Loss.
Ooh,
got
that's tough. I'm with you there.
Win, loss.
So 2-1.
Here we go.
2-1 for TX.
With the 4th game of the season on the road yet again, staying in the state of Florida at number 21 Miami.
Loss.
Loss. You got them at 2-2 through 4 games. Bye week, and then you go. You stay at home and you face the number 3 Texas Longhorns.
Loss.
Loss.
So you're
now you're 2-3.
2-3.
Then you go on the road at Texas A&M at Kyle Field, a 3:30 kickoff.
Win.
That's a big win.
On the road at A&M. How about the following week, Mississippi State at home?
Win.
That's a win.
4
All right.
and 3.
You got them at 4-3
2 in a row.
through 7 games. Bye week, and then you face Georgia in Jacksonville.
Upset win.
Whoa!
He's calling the upset
5-3. Is that right?
3:30.
5-3. Is that where we are now?
I think so. We got him at 5-3.
That's a big one. Billy Napier just saved his job.
Will there be a letdown the following week on the road at Kentucky?
No, it's a win.
Win for Florida after
Bowl
that.
eligible, baby.
Then we got on the road at Ole Miss.
Ooh. Win.
Win. Rolling off 5 straight wins. How about
7-3.
after that? At home against Tennessee, preseason ranked number 19.
Win.
Win 6 in a row. And you close out the regular season at home against Florida State.
Oh, God. 3 wins.
That's a win. How
Did he
about
just go
that?
9-3 for Billy
9-3
Napier?
with a weird streak in the middle. 3 losses in a row.
Wow.
After 2 straight to start the season. T Experience, we got receipts. We're holding on to it, and we'll see if you know ball by the end of the season.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, guys.
That's good,
Thank you, T
man.
Experience.
He's got confidence in his team, though. I like that.
Were you? I took notes, by the way.
I thought he was going to go loss on a couple. I thought he was going to go loss at Georgia. I thought he was going to go loss at Ole Miss. So he's confident. 9-3. Tolos, the phone lines are still open. 844-326-3663. If you just tuned in and don't know what's going on, we're allowing you, Tolos, to put on your prediction hat. Win-loss game. You call in. You tell us your team. We pull up the schedule, and we roll on. 844-326-3663. Diesel, do you want to guess what Dewey is going to say when I ask him what his favorite team is?
If you're going to make us do this for the Atlanta Braves for the rest of the season, we're going to ban you again, Dewey.
What's up, Dewey?
Oh, the Atlanta Braves ain't going to win another game this year.
Why, what's your name?
Okay, good. Thank you for saving all of us.
Oh,
Dewey, who's your team?
Yeah, who's
what,
your
are we,
team?
what are we doing?
let's do the Gamecock.
All right. So just to be fair, let's pause for a second, Diesel. While we have South Carolina pulled up, I pulled it up because I knew Dewey was a Gamecock. If there are any other Tolos out there at 844-326-3663 that are also Gamecock fans and want to call in, we will put you on the same line as Dewey. That way y'all can all do it at one time because, there's no need to do South Carolina 3, 4, 5 times in a row. So if there are any other Gamecock fans, now is your time to call. I would imagine that Dewey's going to go, 12-0 here, right, Diesel? Is that how this is going to work?
We're going to do another team.
Dewey's a
You
smarter
want to do
guy.
another? You have another team, Dewey?
Let's do the North Carolina Tar Heel.
Okay. All right. Are you a closet North Carolina Tar Heels fan, by the way?
Well, I think Bill Belichick's going to go to the playoffs.
Okay. I like that. You're changing
Fired,
up.
one or the other.
So the Gamecock's still on the table. Phone lines are still open.
Mm-hmm.
Dewey, we're going to start North Carolina Tar Heels at home hosting TCU.
That should be a win.
Okay. At Charlotte.
TCU sucks.
At
That's
Charlotte.
a definite win.
Okay, so you're 2-0. Bill Belichick will then host Richmond.
If he loses that game, he needs to be fired.
Why? What's your name?
So it's a win.
That's a win.
Okay.
So what's he got him at 3-0?
3-0.
All right, after that, Bill Belichick has a bye week. And then they host Clemson in Chapel Hill on October. Oh, did I miss UCF? Did I skip UCF,
I think
Diesel?
you skipped UCF.
I'm sorry. UCF at UCF, Dewey.
That should be a win.
So you've got them 4-0.
4-0.
All right, they have a bye, right? You got a bye. And then you host Clemson.
I think Clemson's going to beat them.
Okay, so they're 4-1 at Cal.
Yeah. I think Cal's going to beat them.
4-2. Virginia. That'd be a bad loss, by the way.
That's a win.
5-2 at Syracuse.
That's a win.
6-2 hosting Stanford.
That's a win.
7-2 at Wake Forest.
That's a win.
9-2
God, now we're
hosting
getting into
Duke.
Coach of the Year territory. Who is it again? Cole?
Duke.
Duke, Dewey.
Duke's going to upset them.
Oh, wow.
Loss.
I mean, what? 9-3 Diesel, is that right?
Yep.
Or 9
He would have them here at 8 and 3.
And finally, at NC State, Dewey.
That should be a win. NC State sucks.
Okay. All right, Dewey, final comments before we let you go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Oh, and don't go splat some more.
Thanks, Dewey.
If you do, think of me and go, oh.
That's amazing.
Thank you, Dewey.
So we hit North Carolina. What, Diesel? Do you have it?
He's got him at 9 and 3.
9-3. Back to the phone lines we go. 844-326-3663. Playing the win-loss game. Tom in Somerville, I would assume, wants to play the win-loss game with the Gamecocks, right?
That's right. But if y'all want to do the Braves, we can
No,
do the Braves.
no.
Let me help you out real quick. Loss,
Right.
win, loss, win.
By the way, Tom, I'm no longer allowed to watch Braves games. Did you catch what happened yesterday?
I did not.
I told Diesel, I said, Spencer Strider's on the mound. If the Braves lose tonight, which I know they won't because they're going to win tonight, I won't watch another game all season long. And guess what happened? They lost.
You did yourself a favor
You're
then.
going to be a happier man for making that decision, Cole.
That's true. That's true. All right, Tom, Gamecocks, if there are any other Gamecock fans, get in quick at 844-326-3663. I mean, real quick. Tom, are you by the way, what are your thoughts on Dewey predicting North Carolina going
9 and 3.
9-3 in Bill Belichick's first year?
That ain't happening, Dewey. That ain't happening.
What would you have him at, more like 8 wins? 7?
The ACC has so many question marks, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, they could go 7-5, they could go 8-4, they could go 6-6. But I
Okay.
think there's a 3-game window of opportunity. It could be 6-6. Dewey could be right. It could be 9-3. There's just too many unknown questions.
Be the first time Dewey was right. All right, Tom, Diesel's got you. Ready? You ready to do this?
Let's go.
do it.
Hang on. I didn't quite
I'm
have
sorry.
him yet.
2025 South Carolina football. We all know, who they start with, obviously. Tom.
Against Virginia Tech. Tom, who you got?
It's going to be
What's your
closer
name?
than people realize. But the Gamecocks are going to win.
All right, hold on 1 second.
Win to start the season.
Hold
Starting
on.
off at 1-0.
Hold
We
on
got
1
another
second.
Gamecock on the line. So we're going to have you both on the line at the same time.
All right, we're
Giving
putting
your live predictions. Hang on for us, Tom, just a moment.
Gamecock Gary
So we got to
and
lock
Tom together. That's
We
right.
got to lock Tom, go to Gamecock Gary.
Tom and
Gamecock
Gary.
Gary.
What's up, Gary?
What's up, Tom?
Go Gamecocks!
Gamecock Gary, Virginia Tech. Who do you got?
Win.
Win. Okay, here we go with week 2, South Carolina State. Tom, you go first.
Win.
Win. And Gary?
Smackdown.
All right. Week number 3, the Vanderbilt Commodores come to town. Tom?
Win.
Win. And for Gary?
Loss.
Loss. Oh, my God. We'll let y'all fight it out. How about week number 4 at Missouri?
Loss.
Loss for Tom. Gary?
Yeah, loss.
Oh, man. Gary's down.
Rough crowd. How about at home against Kentucky?
Beat down.
Win for
Gamecocks
Tom.
win.
And a win for Gary. How about it?
So,
all right.
in the bye, just to pause for a second.
Yeah. Tom's got him at 4-1. Gary's got him at 3-2. All right. No, that's solid. Bye week, and then on the road at LSU.
Loss.
Gary?
Loss.
There you go. Sorry, I can't put an A on here for ass whooping.
Yeah.
How about the following week at home against Oklahoma?
Win.
Win for Tom and Gary.
Loss.
Loss.
Whoa, Gary.
Gary, are you sure you're a Gamecock fan?
Venable's getting that defense that he had up there in daggum Tiger Town. He's gonna show up.
All right, the following week, you got 2 in a row at Williams-Brice, but you face Alabama for homecoming. Tom.
Win.
Whoa, Tom. Come on now. Gary. Loss. Gary. Not high on this year's team. Tough schedule. How about on the road at Ole Miss on November 1st?
Loss.
God,
Gary.
this is a bunch of L's up
Are we
in
sure
here.
Gary's not a closet Clemson fan just calling in to dig the needle in?
Another bye.
Bye week, and at that bye week, Tom has the South Carolina Gamecocks at 6-2. Gamecock Gary has them at 3-6 at that point. No, sorry, Tom had him at 6-3. Gamecock Gary's got him at 3-6.
Oh, that's not good.
All right, here we go. The final 3 games to close it out. Tom at Texas A&M.
Win.
Loss. God, Gary. Coastal Carolina coming in to Williams-Brice Stadium on November 22nd.
Smackdown.
There you go.
Win
for both of you. All right.
One more.
And the final game of the season, you got to stay at home and face the Clemson Tigers.
Who?
Tyler.
Hey, Beamer's going to finally beat him in Columbia. It's going to be a beatdown. We're going to be dancing in the fairgrounds. We'll be 9-3. We'll be on the way to the college football playoff. And we're going to have us a party in Columbia. And just for you, Dewey.
Gamecock Gary, what's going to happen in that game?
You've lost your mind. This is Lefty Tiger, and we're going to spank the heck out of y'all in the middle of the fairground. And
Whoa!
all the way, baby.
I called it.
Calling in, Tom.
Whoa! I called it.
Lefty Tiger, Clemson Tiger.
Whoa!
Natty your bus, baby. Let's go.
Well, you're going to be busting because Kate Klubnik ain't taking y'all to their national championship. I can promise you that. Write it down. You can put it on a piece of paper, and you can call me back if I'm wrong. But that is not happening. Kate Klubnik is not taking Clemson to a national championship. He ain't Deshaun Watson. He ain't Trevor Lawrence. It will not happen.
Tom, did you see that coming? Did you see the switcheroo? I mean, that is an M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong type of twist right there.
As soon as he said the Gamecocks are losing to Vanderbilt, I knew. Because the last time South Carolina lost to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, but Alabama lost to Vanderbilt.
Well, I don't care about Alabama. The last time the Gamecocks lost to Vanderbilt, George W. Bush was still president, okay? It has been that daggum long. It ain't happening.
Tom, you are simply the best. That might have been my favorite segment in like months.
Go Gamecocks. We are 50 days till kickoff.
How about it? Thank you, Tom.
That was incredible. What a heel turn. What a plot twist.
Didn't expect that.
You know
from
what I was thinking, Diesel?
Lefty Tiger.
I was sitting there thinking the whole time while you were doing that. I was sitting there thinking, I've never heard of Gamecock Gary.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a reason. He didn't exist. And there's a Gary out there thinking, man, I can never call now because I don't think I'm Lefty Tiger. That was epic.
So Tom had him going 9-3. Lefty Tiger, a.k.a. Gamecock Gary, has South Carolina at 4-8.
That is amazing.
Tolos, who's going to be closer to the correct prediction?
I think Tom.
By the end of the season.
I think Tom.
It's still the brutal SEC schedule. You face, scrolling down the list here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 preseason ranked teams. Oklahoma coming to town. Vandy with Diego Pavia is still there.
You know, we'll do it again this year, Diesel. The first week of August last year, we did ours. Official predictions. That gives you and I just a little bit less than a month to stew on a little bit more and get our minds right. You and I have a little bit less than a month to give our official predictions, 2025, Clemson and South get on the schedules. I think probably, though, I think it's going to be a little closer to Tom's. I do.
When we come back, let's do our Friday tradition, our Friday Fives, our whip around the sports world to see who's crushing it this week. Buckeye Brian texts in on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. He doesn't go win-loss for the Buckeyes, but he does say that they're going to go 11-1 and win back-to-back national championships. And Buckeye Brian, since you didn't tell me which game they were going to lose, I'm going to go ahead and put the L down for November 29th. That game is the Michigan game.
Buckeye Brian, why didn't you call? Well, come on.
So they got.
I don't want to hear any excuses. You might be working, but next week we'll do it again. I want to hear you call win-loss.
Texas, Grambling State, Ohio, at Washington, Minnesota, at Illinois, at Wisconsin, Penn State, at Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, and at Michigan. At Michigan's the hardest game on that schedule.
Texas.
Outside of the Texas game. Well, the hardest road game.
Yeah.
It is a road game. Michigan, really good. They're not going to be Texas good.
That just shows you how soft the
but
schedule is.
It is a road game. Yeah. I mean, let's be 1, 2. Illinois is a preseason top 11 team in the country.
Yeah, for now.
Help me out with that one.
Won't last long.
Help me.
Sorry, Brent.
Somebody explain that to me.
Brent Bielema.
But
Bielema.
1, 2, Bielema. 3, 4 ranked opponents. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and put you down for that L. Last game
Bielema
of the
was
season.
the one that almost got into it with Beamer. Bielema and Beamer, right?
That's
The bowl
true.
game?
That's true. They did have dinner after the fact, and they squared it away. So everything is good between Beamer and Bielema. Cole, let's do our segment here. We do it every single Friday. It's called our Friday Fives.
The best performances this week.
That deserves a high five.
This is the high five.
All right, high five. Ladies, gentlemen.
I should feel tremors of psychitude rock my body like a seizure.
Continue the interaction, Tolos. Here's your chance to shout out something that happened that was great this week. We like to shout out some of the best sports performances of the week, but you can shout out anything you want to at 844-326-3663. I'll get it started, Cole, here. Team USA women's basketball taking home a gold in the FIBA AmeriCup, which I've never heard of before. Never heard of the FIBA AmeriCup, but if there's a gold, dang it, I want America to win it. They had a comeback victory over Brazil, 92-84. All college players on this team, by the way. Freshman Michaela Blakes, who's going to be playing at Vanderbilt, led the charge with 27 points. Notre Dame's Olivia Miles broke the assist record in a FIBA AmeriCup game. And South Carolina's Joyce Edwards, 11 points and 7 rebounds. She was all over the glass. High five to USA women's basketball.
I love Joyce Edwards. I really do. You know, Diesel, I'll tell you this. Yesterday, you know, we plan about a day in advance for our shows, and I knew we had Friday Fives coming up, or maybe the day before. And I was thinking, you know, I bet I'm going to give mine to Cooper Flagg. However, I'm here to tell you on this Friday that I'm not giving it to Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg struggled a little bit in his...
It's not Flag Day?
No. Summer League debut in Las Vegas, 10 points, tough night shooting, 5 of 21.
What a loser.
Overall, 0 for 5 from 3. Again, he had some defense, some stiff defense. I saw a couple of videos online where him and Bronny were kind of not getting into it, but really good play between the two of them. He did have a tomahawk dunk off of a steal, but it was a tough night shooting for Cooper Flagg. So I'm here to tell Cooper Flagg publicly, because I know he's listening to the show, that he is not getting a Friday Five from me. Sorry about that, Cooper Flagg.
So you pulled
Maybe
the old
next time.
lefty tiger switcheroo, where it makes it sound like you're going to say something nice, and then you turn it around.
Right. I did. I'm sorry, Cooper. Joey on the Hub City Spartanburgs text line says, let's see, high five to Kendrell LLC out of Chicago for giving me a job and ending this year long retirement.
Wow.
So
are you moving, Joey?
Yeah, tell
Are
us
we
about
losing
that.
you?
I hope not.
Tell Joey, help us out. Tell us what Kendrell LLC is, and tell us if you're moving or if you're working remotely.
Hopefully working remotely.
Hopefully you stay
or
here.
We'll have a Tolo in Chicago, right?
Cole, I've got one here for the vast majority. So this is lots of high fives. High fives to the vast majority of professional athletes for not injuring themselves on 4th of July when it came to fireworks. Hold on, Najee Harris. Not you. Not you, Najee Harris. Former Alabama and current Los Angeles Chargers running back. He had a mishap at a fireworks event in Antioch, California, which caused him a, quote, superficial eye injury, while another attendee at this party lost a finger.
Not good.
Come on, Najee.
Diesel.
Be smarter than that.
Am going to give one high five today. Just one and one only, and I'm not going to pull another switcheroo on you. I'm going to give a high five to our friend, good friend of the show. You've heard him on here multiple times, Chad Comer, the manager of the Hub City Spartan Burgers. The Spartan Burgers, since Wednesday, have had 1, 2, 3, 4, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins in their last 8.
Wow.
So the Burgers are starting to hit a little bit of a good stretch, getting back above 500. Rome's a good team. They've took 2 of 3 so far. So 7 of their last 8 are all wins. My Friday five's going to the Spartan Burgers, but in particular, Diesel, the manager, Chad Comer. By the way, at Rome tonight, 7 o'clock, first pitch.
Let's see, Dan B says, didn't a player blow a finger off about 10 or 15 years ago? That was Jason Pierre-Paul.
Giants, yep, sure did.
His hand is mangled. It is wonky. It is gross.
You know what happens when you do that, Diesel? You have one less finger.
You got to have high force.
He has 9 fingers now.
Yeah. I'm going to throw a high five out there to whoever it was at Texas Tech University. That's why this is so surprising. Somebody at Texas Tech put up $5.1 million in NIL money to land 2026 5-star offensive tackle Felix Ojo. Didn't know they had that kind of scratch out at Texas Tech.
Here's what I will tell you about that. I've been, Big 12 Media Days going on.
Yep.
I've been seeing videos and pictures on social media of this guy, this booster. He is making his rounds with the media at Big 12 Media Days. He's evidently like cha-ching. Like cha-ching,
I would
cha-ching.
say so.
And he's so cha-ching, cha-ching that he's doing interviews with media. You've got a rich guy just walking around this booster. Hey, man, what's it like to have $4 billion? You know what I mean? So this guy, Texas Tech, he is single-handedly, kind of like Dave Portnoy did with Michigan, single-handedly trying to get them to a national title.
Are we sure it's not Taylor Sheridan? Because he made Texas Tech the focal point of Landman. That's the school that the son was a fan of. That's the school that the daughter and the daughter's boyfriend are going to go to.
Sure.
So they were all over Texas Tech in that show.
Wasn't that funny when he said something about Nick Saban and Billy Bob Thornton was like, Nick Saban retired. And then the best part was the line, we can't say it on air, but the line at the end when the daughter got upset and they told him, the dad, Billy Bob Thornton, told the daughter, he said, screw Alabama, but it wasn't. It was it's a good movie, a good show. By the way, real quick, Joey says, not moving. They are an IT service provider. They hired me to support their client location in Simpsonville, 7 minutes from the house. Congrats, Joey. That's worth celebrating.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Congratulations. High five to you, Joey. High five to you.
High five to you.
I'm going to throw one more out there for you, Cole. I'm going to throw one to my wife who's at home right now taking care of a 2-day-old kitten that we found behind our fence, behind our house, between our house and the one behind us. Found an abandoned kitten. So she's at home taking care of this teeny weeny little thing.
I'm not envious.
I mean, it's still got the umbilical cord attached. Like, that's how baby this thing is. And we think maybe Mama Cat abandoned it because it got stuck in the grass. And Mama Cat said, well, can't get it out. Sorry.
You're going to hate me for this, but I'll tell you this. I dislike cats so much that if there was an abandoned cat behind my house, let me tell you this. I would not have found it.
You just need.
I wouldn't have found it.
You just need a cat to come and sit in your lap one time and be like, "Oh my God, I get it. I get it." So if any Tolos want a kitten, let me know.
Oh, Diesel has a cat.
844 fan phone. Shameless way for me to see if anybody wants a kitten in the Malden Greenville area.
That is fantastic. That's fantastic. Why is Diesel driving down 85 tonight at 9 o'clock with a kitten while he's delivering it to a Tolo in Spartanburg?
Don't eat it.
I can.
Okay?
Whoa! I can see that happening. Good stuff, Tolos. Daily Wires. If you've never heard of that segment, we'll tell you what it is next. Tolos, if you are new to the show and you're wondering what a Tolo is, well, glad you asked. Tolo stands for turn on, leave on. Occasionally we have somebody asked what Tolo means. And you out there that listen faithfully every day from 3 to 7 are Tolos. Turn on, leave on. That's what we ask you to do every day on the Fan Upstate. Turn it on and leave it on. Diesel, some pretty nasty storms in the upstate before we start the Daily Wires. Daily Wires. Bzz. There you go. Before we start the day.
Sorry, I was thinking about
I know.
lightning in the atmosphere.
Tolos, be safe out there. Be safe out there is all I got to say, because there's been some nasty storms up in the Spartanburg area from what I was told on the text line. But let's get this party started with what's going on in the sports world. The Atlanta Braves were defeated in 11 innings on Thursday.
You don't say.
Shocker, right? 5-4 was the final score, Diesel, by the the A's. And I told you yesterday that if they lost with Spencer friggin' Strider on the mound, which I thought there was no way they'd lose, I would not watch the Braves. So guess what? Here I am on July the 11th telling you I'm done with the Braves for 2025. I'm not watching anymore. So there you have it.
Ever?
This year.
Okay.
Now, I'll probably see them on like highlights. Well, I don't know if they'll have highlights. They might not have highlights.
There's no highlights.
There's no highlights.
It's only when it's highlights for the other team.
Fair enough. Atlanta and St. Louis tonight, 8:15 first pitch. Grant Holmes on the mound. How about this, Diesel? We talk a lot about on the field. What about off the field? Former Tiger right-handed pitcher Lucas Malstead was named the ACC Baseball Scholar Athlete of the Year for the entire ACC conference, announced Thursday by the league office. He became the first Tiger since 2019, Logan Davidson, and the third in the history of the program to receive this honor for baseball. The ACC Scholar Athlete of the Year awards were established in 2007 to be awarded annually to the top junior or senior student athlete in their respective sports. Pretty cool.
Way to go. Getting it done.
He's a smart one, as they say. Former Alabama basketball player Darius Miles is scheduled to stand trial for capital murder beginning December 1st in Alabama Circuit Court, more than 2 years after he was arrested in a fatal shooting or connection with a fatal shooting of Jamie Harris in Tuscaloosa. Only 23 years old. He was accused of aiding and abetting co-defendant Michael Davis, who was found guilty of capital murder. Davis was sentenced to life in prison. Just terrible news, Diesel, that you really don't want to see.
They can't all be perfect.
It's bad.
It's rough.
It really is. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Tank Davis, 30 years old, was arrested on Friday morning in Miami Beach on a battery charge stemming from alleged domestic dispute with his ex-girlfriend of 4 years. Venus Williams accepted a wild card invitation to play singles at this month's D.C. Open, which would be the 7-time Grand Slam champion's first tournament in more than a year. Williams, who turned 45 in June, is listed as inactive on the WTA's tour's website.
I like that wild card invitation. Is that what gave you the idea for our All-Star Major League Baseball All-Star game? Like improvements?
No, I didn't think about that.
Think about that. A wild card invitation.
Yeah,
could be a celebrity. Could be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't hate
a guy
that.
from Dude Perfect. You know, that kind of stuff.
New York, the Yankees left-hander Carlos Rodon was named to the American League All-Star team Friday, replacing teammate Max Fried. You know that name, don't you? Mm-hmm. It is third All-Star selection for Rodon, 32, who made the All-AL squad with the Chicago White Sox in 2021 and the National League roster with the Giants in 22.
It is such a great idea for Alex Anthopoulos to move on from Max Fried.
It really was. Yeah,
All-Star.
Really good idea, Alex. Thanks. 5-star DT Lamar Brown, ESPN's #1 overall recruit in the 2026 class, announced his commitment to LSU on Thursday, securing a seismic local recruiting win for Coach Brian Kelly. That's big.
Yeah.
Feels big.
We were talking about this the other day. Is Brian Kelly going to end the season as the LSU head coach if they miss the college football playoff?
Well, I'll tell you what, for him to be able to go get that guy, again, it hadn't happened on the field yet, right? They haven't become that perennial powerhouse that they're known for yet. But for him to go get that guy, and he's done a good job with recruiting thus far, that's big. That's really, really big. So we'll see how things go for old Brian Kelly. He's going to be stacked this year, so he better perform. In Washington, a bill to regulate college sports introduced in the House on Thursday would offer limited antitrust protection for the NCAA while barring schools from using student fees to pay for college athletic programs. Co-sponsors of the SCORE Act include 7 Republicans and 2 Democrats, which gives the bill a fair chance of passage. In the House, it would need at least 7 Democratic votes in the Senate, where its chances are viewed as slim.
That's big because a lot of schools a lot. I mean, every school uses student fees to help pay for athletics.
Oh, yeah. We just talked about that a couple days ago.
I mean, James Madison's number is gigantic. It's like $2,000 a year JMU students are paying for athletics. Now, JMU students will tell you, or their fans will say, it's all accounting. They're not really paying $2,000.
Right.
It's just $2,000 attributed to each student. They're not actually paying that. But think about how many schools and athletic programs are kept afloat by student fees. And I'm sorry, running a program is not going to get any cheaper. So if you now take away a giant revenue source from these athletic departments, and you're making them pay up to $20.5 million a year in revenue sharing.
Yeah.
Whoo.
It's crazy,
That
man.
could be a seismic shift in college athletics.
Before we get back into the All-Star game conversation, one more for you. Chargers running back Najee Harris sustained an eye injury after a fireworks mishap at a July 4th event. His agent, Doug Hendrickson, told ESPN's Adam Schefter on Tuesday. They said it was superficial and that Harris is expected to be ready for the NFL season. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are your Daily Wires.
I guess you could say he can see himself getting on the field.
I like it. I like it.
When we come back, Cole, we had a great conversation. Let's jump back into it. A great conversation earlier about
the All-Star game.
The All-Star game, Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Is it even worth talking about, paying attention to if you're an American? We'll jump right back into it next.